Well, the idea of 15 years really came to me as it was one of those occasions where you just kind of think about what might happen if a person is put into a particular situation. And for this situation, for my character, Josiah Tucker, he's a person that was raised up in foster care for most of his life, bouncing pretty much from one home to the other. However, he spent an extended period of time in one household, a time of about 6 years. And in that time period, he became very close to them to the point where he referred to them as Mama and Daddy, and he referred to his younger foster brother as his little brother, and his foster sister, who was 4 years older, as his big sister. So they grew up very family-like, although all of the kids there were actually foster children in the family. They were very close-knit. And, I'm sorry, he went on, of course, and was taken from that home, as most foster children are after a certain amount of time, and he was sent back to his mother, who was very abusive, more mentally than anything else, but she was abusive, and she abused drugs and alcohol herself. And so now this is 15 years later in life for him, and he has found great success in life, and he graduated at the top of his class in high school, he graduated at the top of his class in college. He's now an executive in a Fortune 500 company, but he's at this point in his life where he feels so broken on the inside, although he looks successful on the outside, and he wants to find that missing link, that one point in his life when he felt like a whole boy, a whole man, and he knows that link is his family that he spent some time with, that introduced him to love, introduced him to what family was like, introduced him to Christ. And so he goes on a mission 15 years later, now at the age of 30, to try and find his family that he left right before his 15th birthday. And he does. He goes back and he finds them. But the idea is that a lot of times what we don't realize is that the way your heart loves a person can change a whole lot in 15 years. You know, maybe the way you felt about them then would not be the way you felt about them now, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But Josiah experiences that. Once he links back to this family, he finds out that a whole lot can change in a matter of 15 years. And the reader will have to find out what those things are that really change, and they're very impactful on him. These are things that almost torture him, to a sense, to know that that amount of change has taken place over this time period, and to know that the one thing that he really strived for and wanted, which was to find his family, now maybe he's bitten off more than he can chew. And so the readers will read this, and then I think that they will come to the point where it'll be one of those things that make them go, because they realize that, you know, this really could happen. This is very real and something that can happen over a time period such as that. Did I find any unique findings during my research of 15 years? Not necessarily. I don't think they were unique so much. I think that what will happen is that these are just things that people don't ponder and don't think about a whole lot, you know, with it. And I think that this will be one of those light bulb moments when you really come to grips with the fact that, hey, this really can happen, you know. So not so much that it's unique, but I just think it's one of those things that we don't give much thought to, that this is one of those things that maybe even seems a little bit out there and not real until you really think about it. I do tackle some subjects that called for research in 15 years. One of those things is autism. I tackled that subject because one of the characters is autistic, so that was one of the things that I touched on, and it really also made me look at some things where abuse is concerned and how people who are mixed up with alcohol or drugs or anything that they abuse as a substance, how it may be just as torturous to them, you know, as it is to those people that are being affected by the fact that they are substance abusers, because it's not just affecting other people, it's also affecting the abuser, especially when they really would like to be out of that situation, but they have fully lost control. And so that's also something that will be addressed in this book, and I think that, you know, people will have a little bit of an eye-opening experience, you know, where as we may be on the outside, we're not the person that is abusing the substance, but sometimes that person, there's more to them than what we see. because all we can see is that abuser, and we think everything they say is a lie, and we think everything that they're doing, they have a choice in the matter. But sometimes they really don't, because they are being controlled by whatever that substance is. So I think that those will be some findings that readers will look at and maybe, take a second thought about those things and not be so quick to judge the people that are actually in these predicaments.